Frank Herbert's Dune, the miniseries by Sci-Fi Channel, directed by some unknown probably. I look it up and it's like Tarantino
I
directed
can't
it.
think
I'm
of
like,
who
what?
it was. I looked it up earlier. I just don't remember. We have
so-
some notes. By some notes, I mean
This
I
is-
have almost 2 whole pages of notes.
This is part 1. This will be either 2 or 3 parts depending on how we divide up watching the rest of it.
Depending on if I can just bear to sit down for the rest of it in one sitting.
It's pretty long. It's 4.5 hours.
Yeah, like was it 4:23? I think.
Yeah, and we are 2 hours in. So general thoughts. I wanted to refrain from asking you about your general thoughts while we watched it earlier and afterwards because I knew we wanted to talk about it on the podcast.
General thoughts. It's way better than the movie.
Yeah.
It is much better than the movie. Based off of what I've seen, it's so far a much better adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
It's far more faithful to the book so far. I think the acting is good. It looks nice, despite the fact that we had to watch it in blown up 480p. It looks nice.
It
Dated. It definitely dated.
It looks. I mean, by nice, are you saying it looks nice, or are you saying it looks better than Dune 1980?
It looks nice compared to the movie.
Okay. because here's the deal. It's a sci-fi original, Sci-Fi Channel original. Sci-Fi Channel is notorious for their not great special effects and their low quality films. But with that being said, there was. It doesn't look terrible. It looks like it fits maybe on a little bit higher pedestal than the normal Sci-Fi Channel. Mm-hmm. It's a slightly better quality. For amazing to me was the performances were especially for a Sci-Fi Channel. Like the performances were really well done.
Yeah. You want to hop into the notes?
Yeah, we'll start looking at some of these
couple.
notes. Yeah.
Let's rattle off a couple.
Let's see. Okay. Biggest note so far. I don't know if it does this the whole way through. But if it doesn't, that'd be great. Because it doesn't do this. There is no head voice.
There is no inner monologue like there is in the movie. Thank God.
And not only that, it's because of it. It's more clear what the characters want. It's very clear about what the characters' goals are.
When I made the note,
Except
I
for
wrote
one.
I wrote in all caps, no dumb inner monologue. But my thing is, when it comes to writing in all caps, I fuck up a lot. So if you look at my note, you can tell where I've accidentally written a lowercase letter and then gone back over it in uppercase.
Look, I'm not trying to read your notes. I'm just trying to focus on trying to read mine.
So in the movie we see the navigator aliens, and we see it again.
Which is not
in the miniseries.
Which is not in the first book, at least. I don't know if it's in the other books, but it's not in the book.
I think I've read that it is in the second book.
But it's in it a lot less. It's in it for 20 seconds.
We've only seen it one scene so far.
Yeah.
And the note that I have written about it is Big Moth Head. So no shit, when this thing comes... Oh, no, Big Moth Head wasn't the alien. Big Moth Head was...
This one looked like a nutsack at first.
The woman, yeah. When the alien first comes up, it looks like a nutsack.
Yeah.
And then it spreads its wings, and it's like this weird, butterfly face crab creature.
Almost like a bat. I said that it looks like it has the body of a bat, and the head of if you've ever seen Scooby-Doo Alien Invaders. There's the girl that Shaggy kind of falls in love with throughout the film, and in the end it turns out she's an alien. The alien version of that, the head of that alien is essentially what the head of this thing looks like, but brown, with the body of a bat. I don't know how to better explain the head. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it. It's not terrible. I'm sure you can find a copy. I'm sure you can find it on 123 Movies.
Don't pirate, kids.
Well, it's funny because technically we're kind of pirating this one, trying to watch it.
It's on YouTube. It's
probably
not legally, but it is on YouTube.
Well, here's the deal: who gives a fuck? Because we tried to find it. I was
for so long.
I was willing to purchase it digitally so that we could watch it. It's not available to stream anywhere. It's not available to the closest we could find to buying it was $25 for it. For the physical on Amazon
Blu-ray.
To buy the Blu-ray, and I'm like, I don't feel like waiting till the Blu-ray gets here. It's really hard to get a hold of this one, which is a shame because it's so much better than the other one. At least so far.
I found my note before it spread its arms. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about, I don't know, we'll talk more about it when we get into the actual number crunch, But the color schemes
Oh,
in this movie shift
very well
depending
done.
on setting and depending on who the character that we're focusing on is, and it is
very good.
very well done.
The
like you
only
said.
complaint I have about it is that sometimes the colors are just too much of the color. Like if they want to go with red, it's super red.
It's red.
If they want to go with blue, it is like the Blue Man Group blue.
Yeah.
Like I mean they go in on like how vibrant their colors are.
Fucking the Baron Harkonnen still floats.
Not as much.
Not as much. He's not like flying around like a circus freak. He floats twice, I think, in the bit that we watched, and it wasn't for long, but still he floats. Whatever.
Still he floats. Yeah. Again though, Baron Harkonnen's a lot better in this one too.
Yeah, he doesn't look disgusting. He looks like a really big fat guy, like he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, the worm. Damn, nature.
Hold on.
You scary.
The box looks cooler, except the special effects are a little suspect sometimes. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But the worms, dude, the worm looks so good.
Like frightening.
Dude, yeah, there were when the worm showed up, I was genuinely like, oh fuck. it comes out of the sand, and we get this really cool shot from like over two characters' shoulder, and it's like between them, but like huge, and the worm looks scarier than it has in any of the other ones. It looks terrifying. The best way I can describe it is if you've seen King Kong. Remember when they fell into the bug pit? And you've seen King Kong, right?
Which one?
The Andy Serkis is in it, 2004.
Oh yeah,
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
They like fall into the bug pit, and then like there are these worms that kill like Andy Serkis's character because they grab him by the arm and then on top of the head, and he has like the machete. It's like one of those kind of worms, except just at least 100 times larger. It's massive. Duke Leto is a really cool character in this one. He's really cool. I like what they did with Gurney Halleck. Everybody got an upgrade from the last one.
Yeah, Fade isn't Fade Rafa again. He's not quite portrayed accurately. They make him seem like just a dickhead again.
Yeah.
Instead of like portraying him as just this kid that wants his uncle's approval.
A comment I wrote on here, a note I wrote. These shields look so much cooler.
Yeah,
because what they do is you don't see the shield until they would be hit.
Yeah, until it like deflects a blade, and then it's like a shimmer where it deflected it.
It's pretty cool actually the way that they did that. Let's see, why the alien again?
We got the funeral scene this time. Jameis's funeral.
Mm-hmm. It's great. It's a great scene.
They left that out of the movie, and that's
they left that whole fight out of the. That fight didn't happen in the other movie.
Was Jameis even in the movie?
I don't think so. Jameis was in it. By the way, the fight scene with him and Jameis was good too.
Pretty dope.
It was a cool fight scene. They're like throwing kicks and shit. Yeah. They were like down to just their cloth, like loincloth or underwear or whatever. It was really cool. It was like watching two Spartans fight each other. Two like training Spartans from 300.
My last note is Idaho didn't die? ? And then dash never mind. Because in this, Duncan Idaho does not die where he's supposed to, or where he died in the book. Instead, he dies like a few minutes later when a missile gets shot at him.
Yeah. There were two parts that confused me a little bit for like character motivation. One of them was Dr. Yue. Dr. Yue. Well, I, having read the book, understand why he was doing something. They didn't express it at all.
They stated it, but they didn't like. It didn't feel like they were trying to inform me as what's going on. But they did bring it up like once.
Well, what happens is Duke Leto bites his tooth and everything and sprays the poison, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't read the book, you would have never known that had been a thing.
Yeah,
they never said
he
that.
Doesn't.
They never said that they replaced his tooth. They never said it was filled with gas.
They did show the replace. He pulls the tooth out, and he's just like, you got to bite down on the tooth. But that's like it. He's like, I'll give you the final vengeance against the bear and just bite the tooth, and then that's all we see.
He's like, I'm saving my wife, and then it's just not really ever explained why or like what does he mean by that.
In the movie, we see him pull the Duke's tooth and then put the tooth back in.
Yeah. It's and the other thing is, so after the Harkonnens take over, the the Atreides compound, I guess you would call it. They take Paul and the Lady Jessica out to the desert and leave them there, which is not what happens in the book. In the book, they're like flying out towards the desert, and they're gonna kill them out there and leave their body for the worm to eat. But then the Lady Jessica and Paul using their voices that they have powers with, they can they convince them to like kill each other off and let them go. Basically, is what they do. And in the movie, they just drive them out. They fly them out there, let them go, and then they come
in the desert,
and then they come and they chase them back again. Like they just do that, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to run away from the Harkonnens." And the Harkonnens decide to come back and try and get him. And I'm like, well, why didn't you just kill him in the first place?
Just go ahead and murder
him. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. I don't know why that was changed. Because that's also an important moment for Paul and the Lady Jessica's relationship as mother and son. And also as Bene Gesserit. But also, the Reverend Mother has this weird costume piece. By the way.
That's the thing I wrote. Let me say it. In my notes, I wrote, okay, so, like, the hats, the, like, headpieces of the costumes in this film are all pretty weird. But...
Not good.
The Reverend Mother, is it Galen Hyatt? Galen...
I don't know.
Something Mohiam. Anyway, she has this hat that is basically just, like, a cap with giant moth wings. And that's the note that I read earlier.
Yeah, all the headpieces in this one are a little whack. But...
Big moth head.
But we'll get into the costumes later. I just wanted to bring that up, though.
Yeah.
That some things were a little unclear. The last note I had was also the difference is the princess is in this movie, and the emperor.
Yeah.
They're both in this one, even though in the book they don't show up till the very end. And not only are they in this one, it seems like they were trying to push some sort of romance between Paul and the princess.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to grow a bond there when it's very clear in the book that, like, the Princess Irulan is, like, nothing to Paul. She's literally a last name to Paul.
Yeah.
And it's not making it play out like that in the miniseries.
I wrote a potential love triangle might happen.
Yeah.
But the last note I had was fight with Jameis was cool.
Fight with Jameis was
It's a cool fight. So I guess now we can get into the numbers.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's start
so,
at the top.
Lighting.
No. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to give it a 10.
You give it a 10?
Well, actually, I'll give it a 9 because you're right. Sometimes the colors were, like, too in your face.
Do you want the color to go under light? Or do you want the color... I guess, yeah. I mean, that was technically lighting, so yeah.
They do that color with light, yeah. I give it a 9 because of that. If it wasn't as harsh in scenes, that's a 10 from me.
Yeah. I think that the only problems I had with lighting really was... That was one of them. But another problem I had was that sometimes it didn't always blend well with the green screen. Like, sometimes the lighting that they had on the actors and on the set piece that was physically there didn't match the lighting that was on the backdrop that was on the green screen. Mm-hmm. It didn't always match up. So it might be...
I didn't catch that.
So, like, basically, I could see where the green screen started and where their set ended because the lighting didn't match up. Okay. Where, when they're in the desert, you know, the lighting the light is coming from in front of them on their face, but behind them...
like we can clearly see the sun, but, like, their shadows are, like... It's like if I can't really explain this audibly, but if, like, it's basically if the sun is hitting my back, but my shadow is going at a 90-degree angle to my left, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, it didn't match up well, and I guess there wasn't as much forethought into that. So for that reason, I would give it an 8, and so I'm fine to meet an 8.5.
Yeah, that works for me. Yeah. Like I said, I never caught that. I did catch that specific part where the sun is in front
and
of him.
And it happened only a couple of times, but for the most part, for 2000 Sci-Fi Channel, you know, CGI, it blended pretty well. Mm-hmm. Sound was good. I could hear what people were saying.
Sometimes. Sometimes we can hear what people were saying.
Yeah. Granted, you got to remember the quality of the version we have, but that's the version we have to go off of.
Yeah, I mean, I can't review something that I watched on my phone for its cinematic quality on the big screen, you know. So I mean, people might like be like, oh, well, you know, you're cheaping it, but like, I mean, we gotta review what we saw.
I think The sound design was pretty good though. You know, for the ships.
Yeah, I like the way the ship
stuff.
sounded and all that, but sometimes it didn't know what they were saying, and it didn't help that the captions were
In Spanish.
and we couldn't turn them off.
The version
which
we
I don't
could
mind
find.
that, like that's fine, until I can't hear what they're saying, and then I'm like, okay, that's a bummer.
Wish these were English captions, yeah. So what do you think for sound then?
It's like a 7.
7? I could do 7, yeah. Cinematography. Pretty great.
Okay, I specifically skipped this note while we were going over notes because I wanted to wait until cinematography to say it. There is a motif where whenever we focus on the Harkonnens, it's like nothing but Dutch angles.
Yeah, yep.
And you know me, I'm wet for a Dutch angle. Like
You should watch Battlefield Earth. They're like all over the place.
Like one of my favorite shots in like the newer It movies is when they come to the house and it's just like the long Dutch angle. I'm like, this is
Yeah, dude.
But I loved that.
It's all motivated. You know what I mean? It doesn't. None of the shots ever seemed like they were like, hey, look, we got to get this, set up the camera, go. It seemed like everything was motivated. It was very smooth transitions too. Very good transitions. The camera movements were very smooth. And a lot of those shots, you know, while I can definitely tell that it's CGI because, I mean, it's Sci-Fi Channel and it's Sci-Fi Channel effects in 2000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's dated as fuck. It still looked cool, and I was never.
Still looked better than the movie.
I mean, when the worm came, I was still just like,
dude,
oh well, and maybe that's more for.
I was freaking.
Maybe that's. I think the worm scene. The reason it worked so well is that there was a blend of good cinematography on the actors and the practical stuff, and the good special effects. I think those special effects were pretty good. They are the best in the movie.
Wait, special effects a thing? Is that the topic we're on? I may have spaced
No,
out
we're on cinematography.
Cinematography, right?
So
okay.
I think the cinematography is very well done.
It's pretty good. You know, nothing to like write your ma about, but what do you think about a 7.5?
I was gonna go 8. So
yeah, I think eight's fine. Yeah.
Look, this kind of goes without saying. Everything in here was better than the other movie.
Oh, in every way, shape, and form. The only thing. Actually, no. Yeah.
Maybe
had nothing.
Maybe the worm design of the other one was pretty because of the opening up on floors was pretty cool.
I liked the color of the worm more in the movie because
Yeah.
that's just the way I. Can I be real with you?
Mm-hmm.
I loved the worm in this movie.
Yeah.
They're in the miniseries. Until it opened its mouth, it looked like a turd.
Yeah. But dude, when it opened, and it's larger, and it also had that thing where like it seemed like the skin on the word came back a little bit, and like there was like more like there's like a layer, like almost a protective layer on the outside of the worm, because it seemed like it did this number right here, like it's like the protective layer, and it peeled back when it jumped up to try and eat the ship. Which doesn't happen in the book, but actually I think it was a welcome.
Yeah, it was just cool.
I think it's a welcome change. I think it was fine. Yeah. When it came up, the skin kind of pulled back and it went just a little bit. Not much. Not like just a little bit. But I still thought it was pretty cool. It seemed like this worm had more layers to it than the other one.
Yeah.
So, which actually brings us to what we're at with special effects.
Special effects again. The worms, dope.
Yep.
The ships look cool.
I think the special effect designs look cool. Do they look real? Like they're tangibly there? Not a lot of the time, no.
Yeah, like the worm looked cool, the ship looks cool, but when you look at the worm and you look at the ship, you're like, yeah, that's made by a computer for sure.
Yeah, because it's dated as hell.
Dated as hell, yeah.
It looks like polygons, but not in a terrible way. The special effects are already better than the other than the movie, but
I mean, look how far we've come since then, you know.
Well, from 2000 to 85, that's only 15 years.
That's a good bit.
Here's the deal.
That's almost as long as we've been since 2000.
Well, that's what's funny the miniseries is closer to the actual movie than it is to us. It's the year's 2020. It came out in 2000.
Yeah, totally is.
The movie came out in 84, I believe.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, but special effects, like they looked cool. It was so clear that it was just special effects. Yeah. I would give it like maybe like a 4.5.
I was gonna go 5.
Yeah, that works. I'll go 5.
Okay. You know, good for like when you have to consider that it is a miniseries that was made for TV. You have to remember it was made for TV, which tits were in there, but it was made for TV.
Yeah, like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I was like, oh, but But no, it was made for TV.
It was also butts.
And that means that all of the...
It was also butts.
Yeah, but I mean, butts are around.
See those.
But it was... You have to understand that because it was made for TV, the budget had to be stretched over the entire miniseries as episodes, not just one movie that's 2.5 hours. So, you know, they had to stretch that budget, and it was fucking Sci-Fi Channel. And these, compared to the other Sci-Fi Channel stuff, these effects were like Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to costume design. I think for the most part, they're all pretty great.
The headpieces. Headpieces were bad, but apart from that, they're pretty cool.
I definitely
the Princess Irulan. She wears this like white gown with butterflies on them,
but not like a butterfly design, like actual butterflies.
Yeah, like butterflies.
I think that I like the Atreides uniforms. Look very cool.
They did look neat.
They look cooler.
The Harkonnen uniforms, they looked like samurai Nazis.
It's funny because as you were getting ready to say that, and then you told me, and I was like, okay, I definitely don't feel stupid for saying what I was going to say. They look like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They look like the Shredder, who is a samurai Nazi, essentially.
Basically.
So, yeah. That's cool, though, I guess. It's different. You know, it's not how I would have envisioned them looking. I think that, you know, like we already said, the headpieces are whack as fuck. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, outside of that, so when characters aren't wearing hats, because some of the Atreides soldiers that are wearing the same uniform as the other Atreides that they all wear, it's like this brown with it's like different shades of brown. They're wearing, like, World War I German helmets that are painted brown. Yeah. And then these other guys who are like the princess like guard escorts, they're wearing fucking the Muffin Man hats. They're wearing baker's hats. I was like, get out of here, Baker boy. Because they almost got in a fight with Gurney Halleck, who is a badass in this one. Gurney Halleck is so much cooler in this one. But costume design, you know, if it wasn't for the hats, I would probably give it an 8. But because of the headpieces, I was gonna give it like a 6.
I was gonna give it really damn.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6. Those headpieces
I give it
like
a 6.5.
Cause think about it, when people are talking, where are you normally looking at?
Their face.
I'm looking at their face, their
some
head.
People do that.
Looking at shut up. I'm looking at their head. So I have to look at that stupid fucking headpiece they have on. One dude's got like this like pharaoh headpiece. It's like purple, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Fader off. I had a headpiece. It was just a giant
it flew
triangle.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And I saw it, and I was just like, dude, Fader off is the leader of the Illuminati.
So, what would you give?
I was gonna give it 7.
Okay, I'll do 6.5.
Okay.
So set design.
Set design was good.
It was really good.
It was fire.
I was watching this, and I think I actually wrote the note down. And let me see if I can find the note that I wrote for set design. Where did I put that? I just wrote the design is really well done. I think I wrote what I wrote was it's a good note. I think I wrote the set pieces are phenomenal. They have good visual callbacks, and I think what I also wrote about the set design is that they fit the fiction. Mm-hmm. They fit the narrative, and they fit it very well. There was a clear effort put in. They have these big set pieces.
Oh yeah,
like, huge. They're very well done. So I like the set design a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Let me think of my notes here. It's pretty cool.
I give it an 8.5. Is lovely. They actually. One thing that they never showed in the movie that they did show in the miniseries is, do you remember the how like they had like the huge fountain in like the kind of foyer of their building?
Yep.
That was in the miniseries, and it looked nice. It was a cool looking fountain.
So performances. What do you think? We're on to performances.
Oh, I thought it was great. I liked Paul's dude.
Yeah, he seemed like a teenager.
Yeah.
In this one, and I don't mean like
he didn't look like one, but he definitely played like one.
He didn't seem like the woe is me, I'm moody teenager. He seemed like the, I don't give a fuck. And he's got an attitude of a teenager. He, he's very opinionated and he wants his opinions to be heard. to the point where he's like in a meeting. He almost pulled a Prince Zuko in the meeting with his father and like other people, where he like spoke out and was like, "No, this is a bad idea. We should do this instead."
Right.
And Duke looked pretty upset for a second there, but then got over it pretty quick when all the other people were like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Gurney is really cool. I think Gurney, the actor who played Gurney, and the actor who played the Duke Leto, man, he's a lot cooler in this movie, and his performance is really good too. Oh, yeah. I don't know any of their names. I looked them all up on Wikipedia, and I think they were all known for this part, for their parts in this. I
was actually scrolling through the cast on Wikipedia earlier, and what's the name of Lady Jessica's daughter?
Cheney 2.0. I don't know.
That's definitely not it. But anyway, if you go and you scroll through the cast until you get to the actress that played her profile picture is that role.
Damn.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't forget James McAvoy. He was also in the Children of Dune movie. Mm-hmm. But
was that a movie or was that a miniseries?
I think it was a miniseries. Oh, God. Yeah. It may have been a TV movie.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but the performances are really well done in this one. I think you guys will enjoy them. Even the, like I don't think there's really any. The only performance I guess I have kind of an issue with is still Baron Harkonnen, because he's playing high pitched fucking. Mm-hmm. That's not how he's supposed to sound. But he's doing good with what he's given too. So, and what he's given is, decent. So I don't really think there's any performance that's just bad. So what do you think for performances?
I give the performances an 8.
An 8? I was going to give it a 9.
I'll meet you in the middle there.
Okay, writing.
It's Dune.
I mean, it's an adaptation, but there's some extra stuff in there that works and some extra stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah, like the extra stuff with Idaho.
Yeah, and the assassin.
Oh, right! The scene after the Hunter Seeker tries to kill Paul, they actually chase down the assassin who's trying to kill people as he escapes, and they kill him, which was a surprise to me. But no, I mean, I give the writing probably an 8 because of the stuff that just didn't work.
Yeah. Overall, though, it is, I guess, like we've said, it's an adaptation. It's more faithful than the other movie.
It's definitely more faithful.
And at no point watching this am I just thinking, okay, well, what the fuck's going on? Because that was a problem with the last one. Is having read the book, I still didn't know what was going on half the time. And there's people with internal monologue telling us what they feel.
Yeah, and
so that should definitely not happen. But this one, there's none of that, and I never have to question what people's motivations are, except for maybe once. I generally know exactly what's going on the entire time. And no, I think I agree with you. I'd give the writing an 8 as well. Pace.
Pace? I thought the pace was pretty good.
I agree.
It would build to something, and then what is it? Peaks and troughs. And troughs.
I think that for it to be a 4, I mean, we got 2 hours in, and I was still willing to keep going because, I mean, for it to be 4.5 hours long, it didn't feel, what we've seen already didn't feel that long.
Yeah, it didn't.
It was, they don't linger too long when they don't have to, and they hit the beats they need to. And I really wasn't checking the time. I only checked the time a couple times just to see where they were at with the, if you look at the entire thing as 100%, and then you compare to where that would be in the book. Like if we're 25% through the miniseries, but only 5% into the book, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it matched up pretty well. The only thing I would say about the pacing is they did get to the Gom Jabbar pretty quick. I mean, it happens within the first 90 pages of the book, but it's like the second scene is the Gom Jabbar scene, and I was like,
so
okay.
So real quick, off topic, ESPN made a post. 26 years ago today, Victor Crumb made the controversial decision to catch the snitch and end the Quidditch World Cup final on his own terms. The finish gave the victory to Ireland, 170 over 160.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're going to do Harry Potter on here at some point.
Yeah, we'll do that eventually.
So anyway, Pace, what would you give that one?
7.5.
7.5.
7.5.
I think I can do that. I was gonna give it a 2, but I'll meet you at 7.5.
Oh shit! Well, hold on, let's talk about that.
Directing. What do you think?
I mean, it's better than fucking movie.
David Lynch did not do a good job on the last one.
Movie.
But
I'm
taking
looking
out
who the director was for this. I'm
taking out
it was John Harrison,
who
also directed Disney's Dinosaur.
Nice.
Yeah, Tales from the Dark Side, Residue, Blank Slate, yada yada yada. If I find anything interesting, I'll tell you.
Look,
Ooh, Dawn of the Dead.
Which one?
Dawn of the Dead, the 78 Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, that was him.
Hmm?
Nice.
Or no, it's no, I think he acted in it. Sorry.
Okay, look, taking out the 1984 version of the film, not comparing it to that at all. Direction for this film.
Direction for this film,
I think is pretty damn good. It seems
it was good.
It seems like everything is motivated. He's not just filling in. Things aren't just happening. It seems like everything is discussed.
He's not just like trying to hit the beats from the book, and he's not just trying to like get a copy paste from the book.
I think
he's trying to do things.
I think he's actively trying to craft the best version of Dune that he can.
Yeah, and he did a good job.
He's doing a good job so far.
We haven't finished it. You're right. What we've seen so far has been.
I think he's managed. Look, if nothing else, he's shown that he can get those good performances out of his actors. Even actors that don't have as high a pedigree as any of the mainstream actors who will be in the new Dune adaptation. Those who I guess at the time were probably had some sort of name for the other one. He's managing to get good performances out of his actors and motivated performances and motivated set pieces and motivated lighting. He's actively making these things happen, and no, I definitely think the direction for this one is very well done. Much better than the other one, but even on its own, I definitely think it's far from the worst thing about this. I think the worst thing about this is definitely the special effects. Just because there's not really anything you can help. You can just do your best to make them look better. Do your best to give you the most to work with. But I think he has made this a bit, I think, as good as it could have been.
I agree.
Aside from the writing, he probably didn't have
like,
control over that.
Yeah, he's giving us what I think is like the peak version of what they could have done with the limitations they had in 2000.
Yeah, the only thing I think that they could have done differently was maybe those writing that we were talking about, but I don't know if this guy wrote any of this adaptation.
Yes, I believe him and let me see. Writers John Harrison and Frank Herbert.
Okay.
Which explains a lot.
I would have really pushed to exclude those extra things that they didn't need. But even those things don't take away too much from it. I mean, we gave the writing an 8. They don't really take much away from it. It's still enjoyable on its own. So no, I think that he's done a great job directing. He's given the most with what he had. Yeah, it's something on your arm, Chief. He's given the most with what he has, and what he has is a good little bit for the time and for what they're going for. So no, I think I would give the direction like an 8.5, honestly.
All right.
And that we usually try to do 10 categories to give numbers for. I think 10's a sweet number, and then we will crunch those together. We find the average, and that is our score as a duo. So I'm gonna go ahead and start crunching those numbers.
Yeah, relatively high considering some of the things we've done.
So the number that we have, our score for Frank Herbert's Dune miniseries Part 1 is a 7.6. I'm sure what we'll wind up doing is we'll take all the
all of our final scores and just pull them together.
And that'll be the overall score.
Yep.
But I think that's pretty accurate. And finally, we have reviewed a movie that is not bad.
Yeah, it was good.
It's been a minute since we've done that.
We got a nice break. It's been since 4th of July.